a world where pirates no longer exist, one man sets out on a dangerous quest to reclaim his treasure from the evil Davy Jones. Follow along on his quest to find his long-lost treasure.
Sparrow said that there was a treasure map in Maine, Ontario.
Well, that's Maine right there. Good luck finding your treasure map.
Thank you, ma'am. I found their main building. I bet the treasure map's in the hardest spot to get to. 3rd floor. There it is. I found the treasure map. Excuse me, miss.
Yeah?
So, my clue on the treasure map says I'm supposed to find it at the Toad, the Salty Toad. Do you know where that is?
Oh yeah, that's just right around the corner
Oh,
here.
it is?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Salty Toad? There's gotta be a key around here somewhere, right? Welcome to the Salty Toad. The key!
Hi, Andrew Johnson. My name is Courtney. I'm here to do your evaluation. How are you doing today?
Good, but call me RJ.
All right. So first, can you explain why you are here today?
Yeah, I tried to stand and my hip it's not a fan. It's really painful.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I do have your x-rays here, so I'm just going to take a look to see what this looks like. Okay, so it does look like, according to the x-rays, that you do have a broken hip. Have you ever heard of that before?
But
Okay.
I'm afraid of a peg leg. I don't want that.
All right, well, that shouldn't be a problem. I'm just going to kind of explain to you what a broken hip is, okay?
Okay.
So a hip fracture is a break in the thigh bone. So I just have a model here to kind of show you what's going on. So this is your thigh bone, and so this hip fracture is just below the hip joint, and the hip joint consists of this thigh bone that is inside of the pelvis. So
Okay.
you can kind of see that here. So there's 3 common types of hip fractures. There's an intercapsular, intertrochanteric, and a femoral neck fracture. And that's what we're dealing with today. It's just at the femoral neck about right here, and just a small break there. Okay. So you mentioned a concern about having a peg leg. That's definitely not going to be a concern. I have better recommendations for you, and that would be surgery. This is needed for most hip fractures because you want to alleviate that pain and make sure that the bone's healing properly. And then after surgery, I'm going to recommend that you have physical therapy so that the therapist can help teach you exercises and get that motion back at the hip so you can get back to doing things you enjoy, okay?
So it'll be a while before I get to find me treasure?
It probably will be a little bit of time, but we'll make sure that we get you back to full functioning in a short amount of time.
So I can find me treasure.
It is very important to be cautious on your hip. So you will have some restrictions for a few months until your hip is strong enough to go back to your regular activities. For now, it is important to avoid putting weight on your leg, bending, lifting, sitting, or standing for long periods of time, and do not move the hip very far in any directions that the joint is able to move. Some of these motions are flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, internal rotation, and external rotation.
Well, it was really nice to meet you today, and good luck finding that treasure.
Thank you.
Hearing this devastating news, RJ became very sad and thought his only escape was to walk the plank.
I'm walking the plank. If I can't find any treasure, it's linked to death.
No! I can help you.
Find me treasure?
Yes, I believe in pirates. I know where to head next.
Okay.
We've made it to CGS.
Yes, one step closer to me treasure.
We've made it to Davy Jones's locker. This is as far as I go.
That scallywag took my treasure years ago. He's going to pay. Hello, Mr. Jones. Time for my treasure back.